Shut off your cell phone. Appreciate everybody being here, and please join us in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So thank you everybody for showing up. Just a little bit of point of order. On a special session, we can only talk about the things that are on the agenda. On our agenda is a presentation on Warner Creek facility potential closure and discussion on possible action to prevent the closure of Warner Creek Correctional Facility. To start off with, I'd like to thank everybody for being here. Jane O'Keefe, Commissioner O'Keefe, Commissioner Collins, they were commissioners whenever the siting of the prison took place. There's a lot of things went on within our community at that time. So today, to start off with, I'm going to ask both of them to please come up and give an overview and some of the history and some of the thoughts. We're trying to pull together a coalition to save those jobs within our community. So Commissioner O'Keefe and Commissioner Collins, would you guys come up, please?
You go ahead, Jane.
No, we're both.
Look at this, Kit. It has your name on it.
So if she sits there and I sit here, then maybe we can.
Then you can take your mask off and your social distancing.
Alright, that would be helpful.
Yes, it'll be helpful for me. And before you get going, I'd like to acknowledge Commissioner Kessner that spent 12 years on the Board of Commissioners as we fought to keep the prison going at that time also. Thank you for being here, Commissioner.
Thank you for letting us come in today and give you a little background. Commissioner Collins and I were on the commission. Honestly, I don't even remember what year it was, but I will tell you that Commissioner Collins was kind of the lead commissioner. And when she left, being a commissioner, I had to give her a coffee cup that said "back to the prison" because she was so focused on getting the prison here. It was something that was controversial at the time, citing the prison. It was something that once the governor decided that that Warner Creek Correctional Facility would come here, it was not smooth. There were delays. It took a while. And the process that we went through was that once Measure 11 came in, I believe, the state realized they were going to have to build several new prisons. And so they put out a call for siting, and Lake County and Lakeview decided that they would like to explore the possibility of putting in a packet for the state to consider putting in a prison here. We, the county, took the lead on that. We put together a local siting committee made up of people from the town, from the chamber, the hospital, the schools, and that group went to other communities that had a prison in the community. They held hearings. And then they talked also with Oregon Department of Justice to find out exactly what it would be like to have a prison in the community. After that, they asked the county to submit a packet, I guess you'd say, or to site a prison here in Lakeview. We were ultimately successful. And then and then several years later, the prison was built. And I think, Brad, you were on the,
Yeah, if you want, I can mention that a little bit.
sure, yeah, go ahead.
Shortly after I came on, had already been cited by the commissioners before me, done an excellent job setting up Lake County for success for those jobs. During that time, there was 5 dominoes here, we went down to 1. The 108 jobs didn't replace those jobs, but it took some of the effect off. So I was a commissioner here to fight for it to be constructed after they fought to have the site in here. We broke ground, I had the shovel in my office. A week later, they shut it down. They weren't going to fund it. They stopped the construction. There's about $6 million already put towards the prison. I actually found my letter I sent to the legislature because it was in budget hearings at the time yesterday that I kept from almost 20 years ago. We were successful with the mayor of Lakeview at the time. The mayor stepped up and the town council stepped up, hired a lobbyist. Many of the public got involved. The lobbyists went to work. We went to work, and the funding came through and it was constructed. It's one of the newest prisons, I think the second newest one. It's a green prison, it has geothermal. There's a lot of things about it that during my time I've been able to work on, but I would have not got that opportunity if the board before me didn't take the bullet holes in their backs and everything to make it possible for the rest of us to benefit from those 108 jobs and all the ancillary effects and everything that are still going on today. I talk forever, but anyway, that's a quick overview. I know there's going to be questions later, but that's how we got to the prison being actually constructed.
Okay, so now here we are. I'm sure that there have been rumblings of the prison being closed before. I don't know, but now the state is in a terrible money crunch, and they're looking for reasons to, or looking for ideas to alleviate that crunch. And apparently, our prison is on the chopping block. I originally thought that there was some time to, that maybe we would be in the governor's budget for closure next time, but apparently there is a hearing this Friday, and closure of our prison may well be on that, on a faster train than I thought. So I think we need to do, personally, I think we need to do 2 things. Obviously, we need to get ready for that hearing on Friday. Mr. Winters, you have talked to our 5 state representatives. I believe there have been letters sent already from the board. It appears to me that and there have also been some things put in Lakeview announcements. Representative Breeze Iverson put some information in with email addresses and things that people need to contact that committee. All that is great. We need to use the same information so everybody's telling that committee the exact same information. That Ginger Castillo asked the employment division to get some information. I think this is fantastic, Ginger. So it seems to me that we've got two different ways to approach what we need to do. We need to get some information together for the hearing on Friday, both decide who's going to testify for Lakeview, and then we need a broader group being put together for the future, because I don't think the decision is going to be made on Friday. I think we need to be ready. We need to approach the governor. We need to approach the larger group. I believe we need to have a community coalition that is charged up and ready to go for future whether it's a budget committee or approaching the governor or governor's budget, those kind of things. Maybe. But,
So Jane, I'd like to interrupt.
Please.
And so you and I haven't been able to brief before this meeting, so I want to give an overview of some of the things that you just talked about there. Friday I met, as you mentioned, with all of our 3 reps and our 2 senators for an hour on the phone, very much in our court, working on a strategy of how to tackle this. So Representative Reski is the lead on that side. He's trying to get time for him and I to testify on Friday. The question is on Friday, is if they do not have Warner Creek on it at that time, is why bring the attention to Warner Creek would be one of the theories.
excellent.
So right now, I'm trying to get that information as fast as I can. Sugar Creek is also on there. It is definitely on there for Friday right now. I will take the lead from Representative Reski on whether or not we get on the agenda. What is real is that the 21-23, there's discussion through this exercise. And we got to remember it's discussion and it's an exercise to not fund Warner Creek. The challenge is as Jane says, is to get it into the governor's budget. If we get it into the governor's budget and it's funded, it takes legislative action to take it out. If it's not in there, it takes legislative action to get it in there, which is the uphill battle for us on the conservative side of Eastern Oregon. Our reps and senators support it. We have to reach across the aisle. We have to find the people on the Democrat side, the people that are going to support it there to get to the governor's side. Whole hard facts, the way it is. It's not about beating up the governor or whatever. We need one voice that is strong for our community here. And one voice as a community, I guess, not as an individual. Jane has a lot of connections. She is the convener of the Regional Solutions. We're the governor's team. I'm on the executive board. We're reaching out every place we can. I brought AOC director into it. I have the chamber director, the hospital. I got a list, DA's office, sheriff's office, fairgrounds, Fremont Highlanders, on and on the town. Everybody put letters together that we're going to get to the committee at the appropriate time. I don't know that Friday is the appropriate time, for sure.
That's right.
And so I don't want us to leave here today and people individually go start doing things that may not be necessary right now. I'm not trying to guide people. This meeting today is a strategy of how we're going to keep those jobs. And the number that finally came down, I just talked to Steve Brown a little bit ago, is 108 at the prison. So that's the number of jobs there. So Ginger, thank you so much. When I call, you can just immediately ask for a favor and I will help you repay that however I can someday. But thank you for the work on that. So it doesn't show the 108 jobs. I think it's a little bit less than 105, 104. So that number is not absolutely correct. Whenever we say they're going through an exercise, this is the next level past an exercise. Some people want to think it's a scare tactic. I don't believe this time that's the case. I think we have to, this coalition, we have to pull together. The Board of Commissioners, each one of us individually, and I'll speak for the board, have been fighting in other ways prior to this last announcement and everything. Commissioner sent out a letter all the way back in May, Commissioner Albertson letter. So we're not naive to it, it's just to another level.
Quick question.
Yes.
It's not, Warner Creek is not on the list so far. It's just Sugar Creek, correct, for the discussion on this next Friday? So far,
I haven't been able to get that confirmed. The first that came down, yes, it was on there. The second was no, it's only going to be Sugar Creek. I'm working completely outside the box on this. Not very often does management go to the union. I've been to the union for the prison with good response. They're giving me a letter of support. They will be testifying on Friday, and I asked the question, is it on Sugar Creek or Warner Creek? The local union president will be testifying on Warner Creek. So,
Okay.
I don't have the absolute answer. I'm getting mixed things. It's not normal in the legislative process right now. And, we don't wanna miss being there if they are going to discuss it.
Right. And I suppose, I'm sorry,
No,
just a question on that then.
right,
Is it, would it actually be more detrimental if it wasn't on the list
right,
for discussion?
right.
Well, that,
Because I feel like, I mean, for some of the discussions that we've had, that does leave things hanging over the heads of a lot of the employees out there,
so,
not knowing
so
what
if,
their future's going to be if there's no discussion on it whatsoever. So,
if the hearing on Friday is about immediate in this budget year, we would not want it on the list. If the meeting on Friday is talking about the next biennium, we need to be there. So we have to find out, are they looking at this public safety interim committee looking at the year end right now and to do reductions now? We don't want that to be on there. We want every bit of opportunity to try to get into the governor's budget for the next biennium.
that's key.
Yeah, that's,
Yes, it's, you know, it's, yes, and the spin-off, the problems is, the operation of the Warner Creek now as this gets out there to the public and to the employees and everything, the potential turnover, the potential of people transferring out, and the unknown for those employees is very tough, very tough, and so,
Melissa gave me two, facts that I think are really helpful. 62 homes are owned by, Warner Creek employees, 80 children in our schools.
how many, I asked for on the, I haven't received yet on the number of kids in the school.
80 children in schools.
And where'd you get that in?
From Melissa, is it Booch?
Boofer, Melissa Boofer? Okay, very good. I've been waiting on it, but I haven't been to my email this morning. So,
So, yeah, we need that information because we need to get people to contact the right people at the right time. So we're not just, you know, like, Representative Iverson put that information out in Lakeview announcements and everybody on the committee and said to contact those people. And that's great, but we need the message, the correct message, and when to contact them. So somehow we've got to get more focused. We've got to get so that, because people in Lakeview are very willing to do what it takes. We've just got to get the correct facts out for people to contact, and we've got to, well, just like you brought up today, maybe we shouldn't be contacting them right now.
so I think you're hitting our second bullet point on our agenda, is where do we, what's our discussion, what are we going to do from here forward? Before we get there, I want to open it up to anybody that has any comments or any questions. I know that the school is represented here, but 80 children, I don't know, was about $12,000 per kid on the equalization formula.
Yeah.
So that's 160 or 96,000 or something. I don't know what is more than that.
It's more than that. We, thank you for the opportunity to say something. I talked to Senator Johnson yesterday. Senator Johnson said that we should try to get on the agenda. That was as of yesterday. So that was her comment. She has gone through this when they closed the prison up in Clatsop County. She said that it's decimating. You'll never get all the resources back. And also she pointed out the water. You know, one of our biggest water users, that's going to impact our entire county, our entire area using water. It's 82 kids, so it's a little higher.
Oh, okay, great,
And
thank you.
it's 9 kids in Paisley. So
I called the superintendent of Paisley as well, so, we have some people there that's gonna,
The 9 kids in Paisley in the 82.
82 here, so. The 9 kids in Paisley, that's pretty substantial, they have 72 kids, so.
Right.
So I think that needs to be stories, stories are very important, so we're working on a couple stories where we can actually say, we have some students who will, if their families move out of the area, will also lose the advantage of, some of the scholarships opportunities that our district affords. They have to go 4 years. So in other words, stories make a difference, and that's what Senator Johnson said. And she gave me a whole list of people. I called everybody yesterday and told them that the impact is not just for the school district, but our entire community. And I said that the impact is the gift that keeps giving. So that's all I said. I didn't want to speak for everyone. I'm new here, so I apologize for that. But, I did call Senator Johnson. Her and I have a very good relationship. And she said she was blindsided. This was from the governor. She did not know that this was on the list until Thursday. She said Wednesday. I found out Thursday. So that's all I can really say. Everything else is hearsay. I haven't got to validate all my information, but it's one of those. The impact is huge, all the way for not just the school district, but our home values and everything. It's just the gift that keeps giving. So
So the factual information is exactly what we need if we testify on Friday, is that impact, the number of kids, the impact of Paisley, impact to District 7, and the financial impact. That is, we can talk the emotional side of it, but the factual stuff sort of hits home with a lot of them. Thank you.
I think you'd also need these numbers by themselves might not mean much to some folks, but I think showing the percentage of how many kids, of what these numbers represent as far as the percentage of kids in our schools.
it's 10%. For our district, it's real simple numbers to say 10% of our students, 10% of our students will be impacted by this.
Right. That's a significant chunk. It's not just
It's very significant.
for a large.
We're talking, that's 5 staff members plus programs and everything else. We don't even know the ramifications of it, but that's 10% of our students. And to help them out, that's half of North Lake's whole district.
Can I throw in a little bit of historical?
Absolutely.
The prison side is 80 acres. 40 acres was donated when we started the process. I don't know if there's any stipulation on that 40 acres. We're looking at that. There was a draft that said it would revert to the donor, but I haven't found the signed copy yet. At the time we got the prison, there were 23 other counties and cities trying to get it. So we worked very hard. It took a lot of trips to Salem at the right time, and the construction was stopped in just before 2000. Then in 2003, there was a group that went up and testified before various committees, and we got it back in December. Now we're talking June now, but December was the final budget. Is that right? Yeah. So that's all I want to say.
Well, thank you for your work on that.
So,
That gives us the opportunity to fight for it today.
so
Anybody else? The town of Lakeview has an agreement for the geothermal out there. The town manager has got that agreement to me. I don't know exactly what that means, but if they shut down, just that agreement alone is detrimental to the town of Lakeview. I've asked for the numbers. I believe it's been amended. I don't know if anybody from the town can speak to it, but I believe it's been amended. I think you might do a flat rate now, I'm not sure. But there is termination clause in there and everything. I'm sure the state is protected that way. But that's another impact to our community and things, is if that revenue source goes away for the town. I don't know what that means for the infrastructure sitting there, the geothermal infrastructure that is dedicated just to the prison. It doesn't go away, revenue goes away, but the maintenance of that infrastructure and everything is ongoing for the town. And so I know Daryl's not here, but does anybody in town want to mention or anything about that?
Yeah, it would, with the geothermal and the water and sewer that provides revenue into the city per year is gonna be about a loss of $200,000. The maintenance I'm having Jeff Marshall check on what the maintenance costs are, but it's roughly 200 per year.
Any other comments or thoughts? Anybody that's worked on it or support of it at this time?
At one point, because of the geothermal, the operation, they saved 11,000 a month because of the geothermal. It's probably larger than that now.
So the information I got from Steve Brown was 19,000 a month.
See, it's increased that
It's
much.
220 a year just in
So,
energy savings, and then the POP plan. It's a plan that the prison has with the solar. If they would put their solar in, they would be totally green and be the only green facility prison in the state that was totally green.
Yeah, they, with the solar, they'd be that meter.
and they were to house 400 inmates, but they have 491. But the county has got in trouble with the state or asked them, they've gone ahead and the county has let them have those additional prisoners.
Well, that come down, we call double stack the prison. That was a mandate that came down. They didn't open up other prisons. And thanks for acknowledging that. The prison has been able to absorb that number of inmates there and stay within budget. And so that's another way of showing the efficiency of this one here.
My point is the county has been cooperating with them because that initial one was 400 bed. That's what it was sold on, so we cooperated on our side.
The other, Commissioner Custer.
Do we know what priority that the state is using to rebudget their finances? What I'm gathering, a lot of it is to promote youth education and other things, and that's where we need to really touch on the personal aspect. I mean, we talk about economics, but we talk about economics of all other communities too. But a personal touch to their own priorities of youth and others, we need to touch on that as a preluding emphasis.
Yeah, so the interesting thing, Commissioner, is the article, PB article, sort of posed the prison and schools against each other when the impact to our school is detrimental.
I mean, it's counterproductive.
I tell you, what's real is there's gonna be budget cuts all across the budgets at the state level. We're tackling this one. My other hat is, just for a short summary, is fairgrounds. There's $1 million cut there. We're fighting that at the same time. As our legislators tell us, there's gonna be cuts. It's where we help mold, at least impact our communities on those cuts at the state level. Wasn't gonna go here much. We're hopeful at the US congressional level that maybe there's some backfilling dollars come down that's targeted for different things, and maybe this exercise we can say we need those dollars for prisons, we need those dollars for public safety and everything. That's a long shot. But, my understanding, Ken, is that the buzzword is they're trying to make cuts to keep our schools whole, and that I don't appreciate how the office coming down that way, but it's what it is.
Yeah, I think when we make our points, we have to acknowledge that the state is going to have to make some very tough choices.
And our legislators are gonna have to make some stuff.
This isn't a phony problem.
Getting a call from Representative Reski in the middle of the meeting. I think I'm gonna
You
step out.
should, yeah, I mean, maybe you'll
Yes,
get some.
absolutely. Is there any other comments or anything?
I want to say one more thing if you don't mind.
Yes, absolutely.
I find myself in a very unusual position because I've always, when I called senators yesterday, they all said, you've always lobbied for the schools. And I go back to the commissioners thing. It's a choice that we have to make, but you want to look at the whole impact. The bottom line is that if you lose homes here, you lose property taxes, so it's the gift that keeps giving. So you got to look at the other impacts. There's some other infrastructure programs, and that's what one of the representatives required me to. I gave them a list of 4 other things they could do in the state that would not impact jobs. About, it would just be, there's the highway from 22 from Salem to Detroit Lake does not need to be expanded at this time. That's one example. So in other words, you're trying to give some other examples, and that might be another thing you look at. It does, those construction jobs will still continue, but those infrastructure things can still take place later, delayed, and keep people's jobs. Because right now, during this difficult time when people can't pay their bills, that's just gonna be a burden on our entire program.
Right.
So that's one of the strategies that I've been taking as a person, but again, I'm really in that awkward spot. My school board, by the way, is supportive. We'll have a letter coming, and both the unions will be sending letters supporting to keep the prison open. So I did want to mention that to you as well.
So Mike, will you introduce yourself for people?
I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm all wrapped up in this. I'm Michael Carter, I'm the new superintendent here, so it's been an honor and pleasure to work here so far. I've hit the ground running, and I've met a lot of you already, different places, so, but we have a COVID plan that we have to come up with, and it was supposed to have a meeting today, but that's been delayed. So we have a lot going on, but this one here, it's been a curveball to us, because the impact is one of those things we have to make sure we hit on. So we're here to support you any way we can from the school district's perspective. And if there's some meeting I need to attend, please call me in the office and I will attend. So just to be there is appreciate that. So thank you.
But I don't want to speak for Brad, but I think we should plan for the worst and hope for the best, and plan on Brad going up on Friday to testify, regardless of whether we think he might or not. And would you be available?
I've got my calendar cleared for that. So, she said, Senator Johnson said it was difficult to get on the agenda, but you guys have connections I don't have. So I will, even if I show up there, I can lobby behind closed doors.
Is anybody testifying in person right now?
Not that I know of, but again, a lot of things happen behind closed
Right.
doors in Salem. At least that's the way my experience has always been. That I sit in the outer office at 7 o'clock at night and have a beverage of choice with a couple of key senators and tell them what it looks like. I know that sounds terrible, but unfortunately, that's the way it works.
No, it looks better that way.
That's right.
So I'll do whatever I need to do, because this is my community now.
Right, right, and it does affect the school
Well,
dramatically.
it not just affects our school, it
Yeah.
affects our morale of our staff and teachers and everything, and it affects our kids, and that's where I have to go to. It all goes back to me with kids, and I'm sorry that I say that, but everything I do is about the kids. And right now, if you lose a program, and like I use that one example of the one student who will not be able to be using the Hayes Scholarship, and they've been here 11 years. They have one more year and they can get that scholarship, so they're gonna have to live with a family or something if the family moves. That's a great example to share.
It also affects the hospital, because they have great health insurance. And that's some more revenue for the hospital.
Thank you.
At this point, I think commissioners, I think we're going to probably be the tip of the spear, most likely, just as far as doing most of the boots on the ground stuff. Brad has taken point on a lot of this stuff, and it's been great to have him because he has the knowledge and the history of what's gone on in the prison over the years. So, but we stand behind this whole issue 150%. We've been hearing rumblings for quite some time, but they've been rumblings, and I think our strategy is just prior to this has been, well, it's not really on the chopping block yet, why bring it up? And we, at this point though, it's getting real. from all of us.
What scares me about that though is, as fluid as everything's been, you know, they might not say it's on the chopping block. Brad doesn't show up to Salem, and all of a sudden Friday morning it's on the chopping block. And that happens a lot, and,
You are planning on being here, Brad, right? On Friday?
No.
And,
No. Yes. How's that answer? They're not allowing people in Salem, so it'll be virtual. I'm gonna go with the lead and just an update. Representative Reski, at this time, it is not on the agenda. And so we'll be poised in case it is on the agenda. The strategy is if it's not on the agenda, not to be there. As we heard, I heard it right from Rep Reski, sorry for that, is that there is support behind the scenes. It's not really being said there. Our challenge gets right back to bring this coalition together with a voice to get to the governor's side of it.
Okay. Okay.
So if it's not on the agenda on Friday, that is a good thing. Because if we're talking about this current year, it is on, not the list for the Ways and Means, it is being looked at for the next biennium. And so that's our marching
That's
order.
better.
And- But that doesn't give us a big window,
No.
because the governor's budget's being put together now.
Right now,
And so, it is fluid, and Commissioner, you're absolutely right, things change in a heartbeat. So, we will be ready, if necessary, to virtually get in there. I'm gonna take the lead from the representative that is working on that, and that's Rep. Reski. So,
So has he asked us to give testimony if needed?
well,
I will-
you gotta get scheduled, you gotta get a place.
And that's what I'm thinking, of maybe to be proactive, it would be nice to actually do a little bit of that ourselves, be on the agenda.
I am going completely with the lead from Representative Reski as he's working the internal politics and the back rooms. And if he needs us to be on the agenda.
Okay.
Because of, it's just real politics. There's things being discussed that's not gonna be in the hearing. And I'm sorry to say, but to go to a hearing and get 2 minutes to testify isn't, you get to check the box that you testified. I'm sorry to be that bold. Sometimes these things are decided other ways, and it's connections and people you know, and so that's, I guess, leading into the coalition talk and the,
yeah, we gotta get to the governor.
so I seen a hand in the back. Was that you, Michelle?
Will the meeting on Friday be streaming for us to watch, or is it a private?
All sessions are open to the public that will be streamed. I go to OLS, Oregon State Legislature Information System, support or system or whatever it is. Let me know how well you get through it, but anyways, yeah, so yes, you can watch it. Yeah.
Have you thought about bringing in any private investors?
Bringing in,
Private investors
For what?
for the prison?
No,
not at all.
that's illegal in Oregon.
We're not, what would we be investigating?
Not investigating,
All investors.
Mhm.
It's a government-ran prison, they'd have to go privatized, I would think.
That's illegal in
It's
Oregon.
illegal.
It's illegal, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I don't hear well and I can't read no lips, right? But all thoughts are something to think about and look at. So, Commissioners, do you guys have more to add or anything?
well, I think what we need to do is set up the committee and assign our strategy and how we're doing stuff, so we're not duplicating each other's work.
So, that's exactly the next thing that I was going to do.
So that's what I think, and then we can just bird dog it.
So we have obviously a lot of influential people sitting within the audience. We have us as politicians. And be perfectly honest with you, James and I have strategized on this, others in different things, and I've already used the word coalition, and I believe that I'm just going to be bold and put it out there. I would like to get Jane as the person to be the lead on that coalition.
I think it makes sense being with her contacts as a convener with Regional Solutions and her history representing everything else as well, so.
And I would like for that coalition to report to the full Board of Commissioners as an individual commissioner, obviously, and I think I heard your guys' support. I'll be very much in the middle of that. I would like to see that coalition help keep us in check, each and every one of us. So if we're starting to get a little bit, that could be a negative impact on it, is for the coalition to be strong enough to say, hey, commissioners, we're working this avenue over here. We need you to settle down a little bit. And we'll say, oh, okay,
Well, that's why I'll work behind the scenes, because I'm not the guy to put front on this deal. And you guys are very skilled politically, where I'm in the China shop sometimes. And so, but I'm more than happy to do the groundwork behind the scenes for any information or whatever you need, Jane, as Brad. And then
that's well said. I think each one of us have what we can contribute to it in our connections. You're going to have connections, and James is going to have connections with what I'll say the freshman commissioners and new commissioners across the state to gain that support from whether we're Republicans or Democrats. You build relationships, and as we have those connections, that helps the coalition get the word out and support other ways. So we each have our own tools. So thank you for that. That's what we need to do. There's more.
no, that's all I think.
I'm sort of overbearing. I've got a lot invested in this, obviously. The coalition needs to be, what do we need that to be? How in depth? How many people? What do we need? Jane,
Okay,
you have some thoughts?
I'm just putting it together. Chamber, Jessica. Is it Randy?
Michael,
Michael? Where'd I get that? Okay.
Randy's my brother, not the kid.
Oh, well, close.
They're close. We're twins.
Okay, Ginger. Mr. Mayor, or would you rather have the town manager?
Michelle's more qualified than I am.
I would recommend that manager and a town councilor or mayor,
Okay.
just because there's the political side of it too,
Sure,
that
well,
the
yeah.
manager is not.
Yeah.
We've got two town council members here.
Okay.
Darwin,
Well, I can do one there too, I mean, it's no problem.
I know Sandy has years of
You know what,
experience
when
too. I don't know,
Yeah. You know what
why
I'm
don't you
gonna
guys
do?
figure out who you would
I'm gonna
like?
put the town.
We have a
manager on,
meeting
and
tomorrow,
then
so maybe
she
we can decide as a council.
She can activate whoever she feels like would be the best when you need something political. Who from the hospital?
There, Charlie.
Charlie's not here.
Charlie's who I reached out to do the letter.
What'd you say?
I am on hospital board,
I know you are.
but a good person, maybe John Shine,
Okay,
if you want to reach out to John.
okay.
yeah, John Shine or Charlie Twait.
Who else do we need? Look around. This is a pretty good group, and I was going to put the union steward from the prison.
Brenda Johnson, who I'm working with now. And
Who is Melissa?
Melissa, there's two unions out there, so.
Okay.
So you have, Melissa is the president of one representative class, and Brenda's another.
Okay,
Melissa Buford, her husband born and raised here. She's been here for a long time, but you would probably either want them to come with one voice or both of them.
Okay,
Because there's two different units.
all right. Okay, that's a lot.
So Gene, I also have the contact information for the main union president,
Oh, ask me.
Joe Beisler. Spelled Baessler.
Baessler. Okay,
I'll give you that information.
okay, that'd be great if you can just email it or something. And is that ask me or is that,
It is actually, yes.
okay, thank you. Okay. That's a good group. Okay, so what I would do is first I've got to figure out a way to get communication flowing so everybody knows what's happening. And then we gotta figure out how to get to the governor. We can do that pretty fast.
So, Michael, you got those connections pretty close with the governor, right?
Oh, yeah, I mean, we can do that. I'm not worried about that. We'll
Yeah,
get
at least
that
three
done.
people in this
Yeah.
room that
Yeah,
very good access to the other.
we can get that done. And, yeah, okay. Anything? We've got all these people to get, okay, all right.
So,
Would you like to be on that committee? I think
Our
you would.
history.
Yes, history's good.
so I think, the coalition, you wanna call it coalition or
Sure.
committee? Coalition, you want it to be officially appointed by the Board of Commissioners.
That would be delightful.
Okay, so we can do that now. We can appoint those there and make it as others as requested.
Sure, that would be great.
Motion or by consensus?
I want to put a motion, I think that.
Yep.
That makes it stronger.
I'll make a motion to accept the committee as discussed, the names on the committee for coalition.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to form a coalition / committee of people on Jane's list, and that list will be fluid and people will come and go as needed.
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Discussion,
Further discussion?
just real quick, if you guys find that you wanna have additional people or an additional individual on this committee, do we need to go through the board or should we allow them to?
That's the reason why I said it's fluid and they will come and go as needed. And I think that we have to give the chair of the committee, Jane, that ability to do that because of times of essence.
So the
So
chair
do we,
is.
do we need to make Jane the chair officially too?
I'll accept that motion, amended motion.
There you go, just amend the motion, but
So-
Jane is the chair.
It's been seconded, so the motions have been amended to form the coalition and by the chair, which we're appointing Jane O'Keefe as the chair, people will come and go as needed by the chair and the commissioner. Further discussion?
Just keep us in touch with everything that's going on, keep us up to abreast of it all.
Yeah, absolutely, that's good further discussion. We can call a meeting, as everybody knows, special session in 24 hours notice.
Yep.
As far as I'm concerned, we could do an emergency session if necessary in 15 minutes. And I think this board would be comfortable with saying what that emergency is and call it if that's necessary.
Our doors are always open, if you need to talk to any one of us, cell phones are the easiest way to reach us.
So Brad, didn't Representative Smith today say that one of the best ways would be to use our regional solutions in that meeting this morning?
That's one of that, absolutely, that's part of it.
And Jane is moving her.
Yeah, so that's gonna be perfect.
So I'm gonna call for the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Gotta get that off the table so we can go.
Well, we were having discussion.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what I've been working on is trying to put the right people in the right place to get to the right person. And Regional Solutions, with Jane, myself on the executive board, within that league, we have an exceptional person there. And then support, like we haven't reached out, but support through Regional Solutions for our sister county, Klamath County, which is who we're on with Regional Solutions. So, I would like to say, updates to the commissioners. That doesn't always have to be in a public setting. You can update us individually. The more update, the better. We all speak the same language. You know, we can't deliberate towards a decision or anything, but information we can get. It's not a public meeting. If it's necessary for a public meeting, let's do it. Yeah. If you're just giving us information, call us, text us, let it happen.
If no decision is needed, then get hold of us anytime.
So when's your first meeting, Jane?
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out. Do you guys have the other business
Today?
today?
That's not a personal, you know, that's all we can do by the agenda.
I was just trying to, since I have so many people in this room, I was wondering if I could at least,
So we can adjourn and you can convene.
that would be great if I could do that for like 10 minutes at least. Get everybody.
Okay.
Together, that would be great.
I want to make sure, does anybody have a chance to speak? I did not acknowledge incoming Commissioner Barry Schulenberger. Thank you for being here, Barry. He stepped up during this. I emailed him, texted him, or text, not email. We've been going back and forth. Technically, he could be on the committee because he is not a commissioner
Yes.
right now. He's commissioner-elect, so there wouldn't be no public meeting laws.
No.
He has connections as a school board member. He has connections with Fremont Highlanders, but they've used work groups, and he also, don't know if he can represent, but he does have history of our federal
Yes.
foresight. So just a thought there also, but I wanted to acknowledge, thank you for being here. With that,
My only comment is, we are on point if something does come up on Friday. You guys are ready to go, best we can be. If discussion does come up about Warner Creek.
yes, Representative Reski, his strategy is for him to talk numbers. He wants me to talk about some of the history, impacts locally to our community, and those type of things. I guess I should give an update. The facility itself, through DOC and everything, and through Steve Brown, superintendent out there, they can only release to me what is approved all the way through up at higher levels. So I've put in quite a bit of requests. They gave me some numbers, but everything within the institutional facility all the way up, they want to make sure that whatever they put out in print is accurate and defendable when it goes before legislature. So waiting for more information to come. What you got, Jane, is from the union side.
Yeah.
And so,
This is really good though. This is something we.
but that from the,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
I was just gonna mention, I believe, and I'm gonna verify this with Damon, that the 105 employees probably came from the latest quarterly reports on, the employee taxes, et cetera. So they may have gotten 4 more employees or something, but I'll verify and find out what the difference is, or why there's a difference with the current 108 and the 105. It sounds kind of like, picking at stuff, but we probably want to make sure we know what our numbers
We gotta use the
look like.
same numbers every time.
Yeah.
so what's really ironic is, with what Damon put out, 12,875,000. If you take Warner Creek's budget for the biennium's 27,500,000, that's 13,753, or 13,753,000 per year. The wages and the induced and associated jobs, it's the 12.8, that's only $800,000 different. Yes, yes, that's using state dollars, but to twist that the right way during these economically hard times in a pandemic, why would they shut it down when they can help the state of Oregon and our people for $800,000, basically?
Well, that also doesn't have our school impacts of 12,000 for youth, and you got 82 kids here and 9 in Paisley, so.
We should be able to, there's gonna be people at the coalition that's gonna put this together, or maybe a politician to talk correctly. And so, Jane, what we need to do is, get that list together, and I need to get that out to our 3 reps and our 2 senators. This is the coalition. And so that opens up that window for discussion with our senators and representatives also as a coalition. But with that, is there anything else to come before thoughts on this? We'll adjourn at 5 minutes to 11. And Jane, the room is yours.
Oh, okay,
Thank
sure.
you guys so much.
Great, thank you so much.
So Michael, you're